I don't know if you remember in the last video I mentioned I ordered a PDM, and here it is. Look how freaking tiny this thing is. So this will control the entire body of the car. Everything in the car will run off of this little PDM. So let's get started. First, I wanted to see if it works. So this is very jerry-rigged right now. Everything is just loose wires. I got my 12-volt power supply right here. Got the CAN to USB plug made. I had to solder the plug wires in there. Let me show you that action. Pin number 2, sorry, is CAN low. Pin number 7 is CAN high. All the pins are actually numbered on the plug itself, so it's super easy. 23 and 36 for CAN 1 high and low. You can see there it says it's connected. There we go. Light is on. So we're going to call this the Flying Nimbus PDM. I think the best bet now is to start wiring it up, and then once everything's wired up and I can actually test stuff, then we will program it. Because right now there's no point in programming it because I don't know what pins are going to be doing what. Comes with a little diagram of all the inputs and outputs. This is going to be very complicated. A lot of work. Get started on something. I don't know what yet. Alright, I'm wearing a different shirt, and if you watched last week's video, you'll notice that the shirt that I was wearing in this intro was actually the shirt I wore yesterday to put the motor in. So, motor's in, harness is run. I just figured out how CAN works. Check this shit out. Don't worry, this is all temporary, so shorting danger is real. I got the keyboard working, boy. Alright, I ran the ground straight to the PDM from the battery. See what happens this time. We're good. Got green lights. Awesome. Switches work. That's the only output that's programmed, so now I'm going to grab the laptop and program all the other outputs that I just wired in. I wired in the 3 wires for ECU power, injector power, and ignition power. So those will all be switched from this, so I'll have, ignition, fuel. So fuel will actually turn on injectors and it will turn on the fuel pump. So I still got to run wires to the back of the car. Alright, I'm going to grab the laptop and start programming this shit up. Alright boys, so here's where we're at. I have no idea if the Link ECU is working right now because I don't have Link software on here yet, and I don't have the unlock file for it, so can't really check if it's working or not right now, but it is getting power. These pins are now working. So this is fuel, ignition, fan, and then headlights. See how it changes to white instead of green? I'm going to change those too, so this one will be yellow, blue, fan, I don't know, blue I guess. And starter works. I'm trying to think what's next. I'm going to come back when I have the ECU stuff. I'm going to download all the Link stuff, and we'll see if we can get the two to communicate. This is turning out really cool. I'm really happy with how straightforward it is. I thought it was going to be like all this weird shit and trying to connect stuff and figuring out CAN IDs and all this stuff, but so far, I don't want to jinx myself, so far it's going pretty good. Well, I've been working a bunch off camera because this is all just trial and error basically, unless you know what you're doing, which I don't. Let me walk you through the whole process. You hit a certain switch and everything turns on. All the lights are on, starter doesn't work. Hit the heat switch, outputs are on, starter works. This will be something, I'm not going to tell you what. This is the most exciting thing that took me forever to get it working. And then ready, turn it off, and they stop where they should, which is the biggest problem with having a regular switch for wipers like I used to have. You had to stop it when it was at the bottom, otherwise they just stop wherever. But this thing is smart, and it's actually really simple. 12 volts comes through this wire from the PDM, goes to this wire on the wipers, which is the blue and red, or you can use the red and blue, red wire with a blue stripe or a blue wire with a red stripe. The red wire with a blue stripe is a little harder to set up because the wiper moves quicker, and then obviously this is the white is ground. But pin A2, which I mean you can use whatever pin you want, is an input pin for the PDM, and I have that connected to the white and blue wire, and the white and blue wire shorts 12 volts from the power when the wipers are at the bottom. 12 volts goes into this wire. When the wiper hits the bottom, the PDM receives 12 volts back. It's actually not 12 volts because, you know, electricity isn't instant and it goes up. When the PDM notices a voltage higher than 0.1 for 0.8 of a second, it puts the wiper switch pin at a 1, which means on. And if your switch is off, that means stop running, stop outputting 12 volts to the wipers. If your switch is on, obviously it just keeps running. So I'm going to turn it off. Boom, done. I don't know if you can see any of this. It's probably either blurry or blown out or something. The turn signals are sweet because it has a turn signal module. Add over here, and then you go to blinker module. And when you add a blinker module, you simply set up which pins you're using for which blinkers. On my keyboard, these input channels right here, see I have left turn signal, right turn signal. So these are my channels. So when you name the switches, they become input channels. If I press it, see that's orange, and you see that light is blinking. It's fucking badass, dude. Let me know in the comments if you want to see a video more like with a screen recorder on the laptop to show you like how to set up these modules, how to set up the inputs and outputs. It's pretty simple, but I mean, if you're interested, let me know in the comments. I'll be back another day, finish this all up. Hopefully the crimps arrive, and we can get this all done. It's another day, still no crimps, but I hit another milestone. I got the brake light power and brake switch hooked up, which is that purple wire right there going to the switch. That is powered off the chassis. And then the purple wire is the brake wire. And I figured out what all these wires do. White is the ground, green and black is the turn signal, red and black is reverse, red and white is brake, and the red and green is the running light. Hit the brake. We got brake lights. Now I can run the turn signal lights. or turn signal wire, because I know which ones are which. Still have some left over, but I'm probably gonna have to splice in more wire. All right, I got a couple more things going. Did the alternator plug right there. I did the CAN bus plug for the ECU wideband sensor. And speaking of wideband, if I hit the chassis switch, the wideband turns on. Would you look at that? The taillight harness is done besides the grounds, because I'm missing the, I still have the little loops or whatever you want to call them haven't arrived. Fuel pump has power. Ground just needs to be attached. Got it all sheathed up. Got it all heat shrunk there. It's running out back through here. Riv nuts are gonna come in. I'm gonna just riv nut this to the tunnel, and same with the power cable. So that will all be attached right there. I just have to splice all these wires to the harness, to which wires they go to. Just gonna throw it on the time lapse and get at it. Alright, ding dongs, the wiring is complete. There might be some changes that I'll be making. I gotta figure out how many running amps the coils will use. Currently I only have them on one 25 amp circuit. Once the car's running, we'll see how much power they actually use. Apparently they use about 8 to 12 amps each, but obviously when the engine is running, not all 8 are firing at once. Once I get the car running, we'll see the amp draw. That might have to change, which is fine. I can move I have 3 15 amp circuits left, and I can move the headlights to those. And I can also move some other stuff around. Brake lights can move to a 15 amp. Yeah, there's a few circuits that are on 25 amps, which can be moved to 15 amps. All my 25 amp circuits are filled up though. Fans are running off of one 25 amp circuit. I did have to raise the inrush current, which is the current that it gets right at the beginning, you know, like when you turn it on, you get a big rush of current. So the inrush current I had to raise to a longer amount of time. I think I raised it to like 3 seconds or something. Everything is complete in terms of powering, except for one thing, which you'll see in another video. I also still have to hook up the CAN bus for the ECU to communicate with the PDM. I'm gonna redo this wiring because it's supposed to be twisted wiring, which is that green and yellow stuff. The cables are almost organized. I'm still gonna organize them a little more once I have stuff mounted, because right now, like, the wideband is just chilling, the start button is just hanging there, this is just chilling. So once I have the dash in here and everything's mounted, then I'll be able to know where exactly everything goes. All right, it's recording. So let's see, let's hit the fan. All right, what do we get? We got back up. Oh shit, yeah, that goes pretty high. I don't know if you can see that on the camera, but when you turn the fans on, it hits 81 amps. That's crazy. The voltage on the whole system drops a whole volt. Drops to 11.5 volts. Obviously, when the car is running, you know, it won't be such a problem because the alternator will be charging it at all times. But man, that is, those fans, they draw a lot of power. I might try setting up the slow start with PWM. I don't know if it'll be able to. I mean, let's see what it does. Okay, yeah. Those fans don't like that noise. Alright, so we lowered it a lot. So the current draw was a lot lower, but I don't think these fans are capable of. So you see, at normal operating, it's only running 22 amps. But with soft start, with PWM, it did do a weird overcurrent thing here, and then it started working. So look, it overcurrent here. I don't know how, because it's only 50 amps. But then on the soft start, it did hit 56. So if I messed with that, I could get it to, you know, work. Because I don't know if you heard the fans making a weird noise. Oh, speaking of the wipers, for some reason, when I set it up, it was working. When I set it up, PDM was picking up around 0.5 volt, which was plenty to set up the trigger. But then I spliced the wires together, and it's only receiving 0.03 volts now. So, yeah, I don't know what's going on. I'm going to have to figure something out. For now, I'm using this shitty little plug for the fans. I am waiting for my Deutsch connectors to arrive because I've ran out of Deutsch connectors hooking all this stuff up. So Deutsch connectors, when they arrive, I'm going to swap those out. Bought new power steering line for the return, and the water pump plug is here. So that's going to go like that. So imagine this on the engine. Let me know if you guys want to see a video of how this PDM works, like how to set up the project tree, how to, you know, change the output max, you know, all that stuff, you know. So let me know if you guys want to see a video, because there's not really any videos on this thing. All right, ding dongs, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys next week. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss all this new stuff coming. Stay sweet, and I'll see you guys next week.
America, America, do you have your passport?